telephone on a consistent basis at affordable cost. Education, good quality at low cost, and it's aligned to the required skills and vocational development demand. There should be employment opportunities in the marketplace, and there should be massive investment in human capital. That's what people expect. Freedom of access to information, value for contribution to the federal, provincial, and local revenue. This is one particular thing which is raised time after time, that yes, whatever we contribute, it's not full contribution, but whatever we contribute, are we getting the value for that contribution which we are making? And this is an argument which is generally given by most of those people who actually contribute a very little proportion of the actual contribution which they should be making. Potential for vertical migration. This is what people need. This is what people like to see. That if they are at a particular income level, their living standard is at a particular level, they should vertically migrate upwards from that level to a higher level. And that is the economic development for a person when he looks at economic development, that whether he has moved upward in that particular economic position or not. Potential, and that is something which is important. Are we providing that potential for vertical migration in terms of quality of life and a mechanism to balance consumptions and savings? And I'll talk about, see, whatever growth we are having, we'll see that it's all consumption based. The investment and the savings are the lowest in Pakistan at the moment, and that is something which I'll talk about. And I think what everybody wants to see is good governance. It may be a different definition from every person that what the good governance means. A normal man may look at normal thing being done for him in a normal course. If he has a right to get something from the government or a government functionary, he should get it efficiently on a time. That's the good governance from his point of view. But this is an issue of good governance which is from top to bottom, and we'll have to talk about it and see how we have done it. For any economy and for any government, when the economic policy framework is made, what is the driving force for it? The driving force for that, for any government, and to be honest, more for a government which is the elected government of the people, it is the welfare of the people. And that welfare of the people had to be achieved in certain respects. For example, if we say that we'll reduce unemployment and create more jobs, we'll create more welfare as far as the people are concerned. Then if we reduce inequity in distribution in our economy in terms of resources and income, then naturally that is something which will lead to basically welfare of the people. And if we reduce the poverty level, then it is basically the welfare of the people. And these are the various other things which I have given on the chart, but I'll not take you through all of them. This was, ladies and gentlemen, the objectives given by the last speech of the finance minister in the House, the key objectives for the budget 2009-2010. The objectives were that first objective was that we'll provide protection to the poor and vulnerable against the economic downturn. Then the second one was that we'll revive the manufacturing and industry, especially export-oriented industry. We'll broaden the tax base instead of overburdening the existing taxpayers, and will restrain unnecessary imports to improve the balance of payment position. Let me at the outset tell you, it's the last one where the government has been successful, partly due to the efforts made and partly due to the situation which exists globally and in the region in terms of the economic slowdown and in terms of the various crises which are there, including the current one which is in the Eurozone, which is happening at this particular stage. All that has contributed to certain restraints on imports and is affected to an extent export also, but imports have gone down, and this is the year where we have been able to reduce our current account deficit and our trade deficit. This is something where the success has been achieved. But in all other three objectives which we have talked about, the success and failures are both there. It's a mixed bag, the way we see that. Let me take the first one. For example, when you want to protect the poor, what you should be doing? Should be reducing the inflation level, bringing it down. The prices of the essential goods at which the normal man will have access to those essential items should go down. Now, yes, in the beginning of the year, for the earlier few months, the inflation actually went down. Inflation was down for some time, and it was at a peak last year. We all know that the year 2008-2009 has seen a very high inflation scenario, and from that inflation position in the beginning of the year, we have been able to successfully restrain it and bring it down. But then number of factors played their role, and it started coming up. And I'll talk about those factors a little more, but naturally, it's as compared to what it was, say, in the beginning, basically, which came down to 8.9 to 9%. In late March, it was about 13%. And that is something which is worrying. The expectation is that for the year, on an average basis, it will be 12%. The power rates, there has been a hike of almost 12% during the year. I'm not talking of the one which has been done after the announcement of the budget the next day. I'm talking the one which has happened up to that date. It was 12% hike in the power rates and power position. I'll give you some essential item table, and you look at it, that how the prices have gone up. But there have been a problem, and naturally that has resulted also poorly in terms of the achieving this particular objective, which was the first objective. The unemployment situation has not improved. We still have 5.5% unemployment level, and this is a major issue, and I'll talk about it, which needs a very, very focused discussion and an action plan to be prepared for that. We reduced the subsidies, by the way, and the subsidies reduction was partly due to the requirement of the fund, and partly subsidies are not good things anyway, and subsidies should go down. If we need subsidy, it has to be a targeted subsidy. It should be a general subsidy which benefits everyone, basically those who are well off and those at a very high situation in terms of the income level, and the one who's at the poorest level. Both, if have the same benefit from the subsidy, that is not which is desirable. We need targeted subsidies for those levels of income where that's important to bring them up and meet their needs. So that's not a good thing, but all of that together has contributed little in terms of achieving this first objective which we were looking at. Revived manufacturing sector, there has been a growth this year in terms of the industrial sector. I mean, the manufacturing sector has done reasonably well, and I'll talk about it when I'm talking about GDP growth and the contribution there. There has been a growth there, but the sector which produces employment, the sector which contributes mainly towards the employment is not the large-scale manufacturing sector. It is the SMEs, the small and medium-sized enterprises, and those are the sector, that is the sector which is very badly affected, and that is why the unemployment level has not improved in any way. Let me take you, now let's look at it in that perspective. I'm now telling you that what the 2010-11 objectives have been given. The Honorable Finance Minister, when speaking, has come up with these objectives which I have outlined there. It is protect the economic recovery by reinforcing the fiscal austerity. Now this particular objective clearly indicates, and I think it has been admitted and recognized, that whatever little recovery we have had, it is fragile. That recovery is not sustainable unless